morning. I have just been reading Evergreen by Lydia Millen. She has the first section on midwinter, which covers basically January, February, and I'm really enjoying it. It's just like a really nice reminder to enjoy the seasons and find the beauty in the times of year where, you know, a lot of us struggle with our mental health or might struggle with things like productivity, and it's just such a nice way to start the day and to remind myself of the kind of little joys of the winter time, like looking outside and just seeing the really beautiful kind of misty winter air. There's something about looking out over the skyline in London in the winter where it feels like hazy. I just think it's really pretty, and we've got a beautiful day outside. It's not raining for once. And I'm back after my trip to Hong Kong, which was a bit of a whirlwind, and this past weekend we were away because London Boy's family had a reunion in the West Country. I just feel like my routine is a little bit out of whack and that I haven't really had time to kind of like settle in and get things organized, and part of that is the video that I posted over the weekend, which was about this kind of decision I'm making or contemplation I'm having about TikTok and social media, and I have officially come to a decision, and I'll make a life update video about it, so I don't know if that will have gone up before this video or after this one. I'm going to make a Patreon page for anybody that wants to support me, so I will post an additional video and some extra content over there that's just kind of just silly content, like that's just a little bit more personal that I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable sharing on YouTube. I'm going to focus my YouTube channel on, you know, the videos that I normally post, but I think I'll probably post my bookish content and the vlogs that are like, you know, point of view, you're on FaceTime with me, that kind of stuff. Things that are like, I suppose, a bit more close to home in terms of my personality. And then I'll use my YouTube channel to talk about academia, humanities, my work, etc. And so that feels resonant, that feels aligned with what I was struggling with, and offers a solution that I feel confident about and that I feel calm about. And today is the 20th of January, so it is a bit of a strange day for the United States, but because I'm in the UK, it just feels a little bit strange because it's just a normal day. But because we've been kind of running around, I've been traveling, we got back and immediately went on this trip. The flat was in a bit of a state. So got a little bit of cleaning done this morning and just try to take some extra time to set myself up for the day ahead, just taking a few minutes to journal and to read and to have my breakfast and to just stay off of my phone, and that feels really good. So I'm gonna go ahead. I need to get on my computer and log on for the day. I'm also participating in Alexis's challenge. I'll put the instructions for her challenge and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a little while because I can't remember all 6 of the steps. I know it's 45 minutes of movement, no phone after 9 o'clock. I think it's reading. No, I can't remember all the steps, but anyway, I'll share that with you in a little while. I'm just gonna go ahead, get on my computer and get a little bit of a plan set for the day. My hair, I washed it and it's a little bit curly and crazy, so I also need to give this a blow dry. So anywho, this is a slightly longer intro than I normally make, but I had a lot to catch you up on, so let's go ahead and get back to work. My hair is a beast of its own. I don't know what to do with it. I washed it this morning and it's still wet, but it is now 7 o'clock. I finished work for the day. I had some coaching calls. I just have 2 coaching clients that one of them is winding down and then one of them I'm going to continue working with, but I have officially closed my consulting and coaching business for now. It's just going to be temporary as I focus on work and the dissertation. Sorry, I keep messing with my hair, but it's driving me nuts. It's been a good, productive day. Got all the things that I wanted to get done except for the dissertation. So I'm looking at my plan. So this is the golden coil planner that I use. So I basically do my time blocking through the day, and then I have my priorities, my habits, any extra to-dos, and then it has like a self-care and an intention section. I don't always fill those out. And then I write one thing that I'm grateful for up at the top. And so I did work on the Life OS session 2 slides. I did complete the weekly memo scorecard, projects update, and weekly survey. I did do my journaling, did my movement, drank 3+ glasses of water, did some reading this morning. I also did a checkup on my spending over the weekend. So the only things remaining are intuitive eating, which we're gonna check off, and then I need to check off dissertation progress. So I have a little catch-up call with my friend Maya at 8. I have about 40 minutes until then, so I'm going to try to get a little bit of work done on the dissertation. Decided that I'm going to pause chapter 1 yet again because I just need more time in the archive. And that chapter is just really inaccessible archive heavy. My God, my hair is just driving me nuts. It just looks so poofy. I need to just blow dry it or something. But anywho, my brain is just going in a million different directions. But I'm working on chapter 2, which is about the Virginia company and their speculation in child labor. I'm gonna go ahead and work on that. I need to write at least 1 page, ideally 2. It'd be absolutely fabulous if I could write 3, but the likeliness that that's gonna happen is like slim. And I have to say, I have been off of Instagram for, 24 hours. I haven't made the announcement yet. I just didn't honestly have time to make the announcement today. I've been working on getting the Patreon page set up. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'll have 2 tiers. There'll be a primary tier, which will just give people access to random updates and like book club type stuff, and then I'll have a tier that will have a video every month or a live stream. What I loved about Instagram, and the reason I always felt like my community was there, is because I always would kind of like passively check up on what my friends were up to because of Instagram stories, and I'd see their posts and I'd communicate with them a little bit in DMs. But because I don't get to like passively get an update about my friends, I actually feel this desire to like intentionally send them a text message and ask what they're up to, which I haven't really like felt the need to do since using Instagram so much. But I was texting my sister about getting off of Instagram and TikTok and whatnot yesterday, and my sister and I don't talk that often. We talk on the phone like maybe once a month or every other month, and we occasionally text each other. It's mostly texting about horses. We would send each other like memes and things. But today she texted me some photos of my nephew and of her horse Duchess, and I was just reminded that there's not really been a time where we've just kind of casually communicated via text message. And it's been a really long time since we've done that. It was just such a nice kind of reminder of like the benefits of getting off of social media and being more intentional about communicating with your friends. Like I have this catch up with my friend Maya after work today. I have another catch up with my friend Elizabeth later this week. And I just really like having this intentional, synchronous communication. And so I'm really excited about the Patreon page. I'm excited to have like a chat space and all that to be able to keep in communication with you guys and see what opportunities that brings. I was talking to Kirsten, who's one of my clients, and we were talking about when you felt the most excited and creative, and that was when I just had YouTube to focus on. And so I don't think I'll post on Patreon like every day. It's not really trying to set the expectation that there's going to be much going on over there, other than it's just a place for us to connect. I also want it to be a space where I can talk about the things that I don't really feel comfortable talking about on YouTube. And that includes things like business or the behind the scenes of content creation, or even just silly things like animals and books. And Kirsten also brought up an idea that I've had for a really long time, which is that I would really love to make more content about history, but I don't want to make like a dedicated history page. But I do want to talk about it. I just know that it wouldn't suit my YouTube channel and the types of things that I want to put up on my YouTube channel. So I've just always kind of put it on the back burner. But that's something I can do on Patreon, which is really exciting. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm also thinking of using the Patreon to like share little research updates and things. Anywho, I'm just feeling really hopeful, and it's been a good day. I got to co-work with Katie. I got to hang out and chat with Kate. It just feels really good. And so maybe there will come a day when I miss Instagram, but for today, I'm feeling really good, not having very many things to check up on. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 25-minute writing sprint, because now I've chatted with you for almost 10 minutes. And I'm just gonna put on my playlist, and I'm just gonna see what words I can produce. And we're all just gonna cross these fingers that this brain, this organ that was put into my skull cavity, can actually produce something. Hair is going back up, out of my face, out of range of being able to touch it incessantly. And let's write us a dissertation. Now for a moment to talk about the sponsor of today's video and a longtime partner on my YouTube channel, which is Skrintall. Skrintall is a mind mapping application that I have used as a researcher in order to organize my entire dissertation. And as I have filled out my notes and organized my chapters, I have used Skrintall in order to organize every single one of my disorganized and scattered thoughts in order to come up with a coherent narrative. I'm a visual learner, and I am also somebody who needs to tinker with things multiple times before actually getting to the writing process. And over the past couple of months, as I've been structuring and restructuring the chapters of my dissertation, changing the entire question of my thesis, I have been using Skrintall in order to organize all of my thoughts. But the best part about Skrintall is that you don't just have cards in order to organize text, you can also add image blocks, documents, and various clips in order to organize your thoughts in a meaningful way. I am a massive advocate for multimodal approaches, not just to teaching, but also to research itself. Whether you are organizing a research proposal, a literature review, or you are an undergraduate student preparing for an exam, Screental is an excellent tool for helping you map out your ideas and see them in a visual way. If you're interested in checking out Screental for yourself and using their Canvas tools in order to organize your own thoughts, then go ahead and check out the link in the description below. And thank you again to Screental for being a longtime partner of my YouTube channel, and for those of you that are watching this video. Let's head on back to the vlog. It is the end of a very good, productive day. I just had the nicest checkup with my friend Maya, and my hair is still crazy, but anyway, she was just really encouraging. She finished her PhD last year and she's doing a postdoc up in Maine, and I'm very excited for her and her job market prospects, but she gave me some really good advice, and it's just really encouraging talking to other graduate students. I said this back in August, but I think one thing that's really hard about working full time is that you're surrounded by people that aren't talking about, you know, research or history and things of that nature in quite the same way. And you just kind of get out of the groove. And so it's just really nice to eventually like have time to be around other academics, and that's what I love so much about Accepted Society and what I'm really excited about PH Done. So we just enrolled the first cohort for PH Done, and I get to actually be a student in the program, even though I did, you know, all of the marketing and all of that. But I'm going to be working with Polly, and I'm so excited because I just could really use some structured guidance and some support, because, you know, as much as I would love to understand what I'm doing and like be able to share on YouTube all of the tips that I have and like how to write a dissertation, I have no freaking clue. I have no clue. And today I sat down to write, and I know so much about the Virginia company, but I still just couldn't get words down, and it's so frustrating because I have like 10 pages that are due next week, and so that means I need to get words on paper. But the words just aren't coming very easily, so I've just made myself randomly frustrated, even though I just had a really nice call with Maya. So anywho, I had a really nice call with Maya. It was wonderful to get to talk to somebody else who, you know, studies history. She's a classicist, and it's just really nice to talk to people that are in the field of the humanities, because they get how my brain operates in a way that I just don't feel like the rest of the world does. But then at the same time, when I'm around other historians, I feel like a little out of place and like I'm not a good historian, or I don't know. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, it was a really nice call. It's been a good day. I checked everything off of my habit tracker today. I got the stuff done on my priority list that I wanted to get done other than the writing. And now I'm going to go into bed, and I'm going to read my Hermione fan fiction and call it a night. So we're still going to carry on this vlog. I think I'm going to do a full week because I haven't done like a proper week in my life in a while. And I just feel like I'm in a vlogging mood, especially now that I don't have Instagram. This is my creative outlet. So prepare yourselves, because I have no clue what you will have to experience, because when I don't have an outlet for creativity, chaos ensues. So prepare yourselves. Maybe that's why I've talked so much today, is because I don't have another outlet to just like randomly spew my thoughts. And that's partly what the Patreon is meant to be, but also this YouTube channel gets to be that outlet. So I hope that you enjoy a little bit of unhinged chaos. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm going to turn on my computer. I'm gonna do one final check for accepted. Just make sure there's nothing I'm missing. Nope, we're good. Okay. It's a done deal. I'm going to bid you good night. Good morning, it's Tuesday, and it is time to head to the gym before work. I have a lot of meetings today, so going in the middle of the day is just not going to be possible, but it is nice going in the morning when I can wake up. And we've got this beautiful sunrise. It's got like purple skies, like pink clouds. It's really pretty. But I'm going to a Pilates class. I'm going to go to a fundamentals reformer class because I have not been terribly consistent. I've probably gone like 2 days a week, like every other week, for the last couple of months, so I haven't been the best. But I'm doing Alexis's like deep reset challenge. I think I was telling you about this yesterday. And so feeling motivated to get some more movement in. So anyway, I'm gonna go to my class and then I am going to jump into work. I've got a lot of meetings today, as I do every Tuesday. Let's go to the class, get a little bit of movement in, maybe grab a special little coffee on the way home, and make it a good day. I'm back from the gym and the food shop has arrived, so we need to put it away. The kitchen is also, as the British would say, in a tip, and I don't have time to clean it because I gotta work. So I'm gonna put this stuff in the fridge. I recently made the switch from oat milk to coconut milk because I didn't love how much oil is in most oat milks, and the oat milks that don't have oil tend to be really thin and not taste very good. So I switched to coconut milk, and all this has is water, coconut milk, and rice, and a little bit of sea salt. So that seemed like a better solution by comparison to having oat milk. So anyway, I need to put this stuff away. I need to make myself a matcha or a cup of coffee or something, and then we got a lot of work to do. Let me just close this for a second, because before my shower I made the announcement on Instagram and on YouTube that I will be leaving Instagram, and I still need to film like a YouTube video about it, but there is not enough time right this second to do that because I gotta work. So anywho, I feel strange about it, but I feel good. It feels like the right decision, and I definitely feel less glued to my phone, because YouTube comments, I can technically, you know, like just keep trying to check them, but they don't change that often unless I've just posted a video. Without Instagram or TikTok, there's like not something that's like constantly updating. I feel free, like I feel untethered, and maybe this is me, you know, just like 24, almost 48 hours without Instagram thinking that I'm invincible, but it feels good. It feels good. And also, what I really liked about Patreon is that I just recorded like a little Loom video to share with the patrons, and it was just really nice. It feels really good to have a private space that people have opted into, where I can share things that are going on, photos, random video updates. I also had an idea while I was leaving the gym, because a girl that was sitting there doing her hair had, I don't know which magazine, I don't know which newspaper it was, but it was about the inauguration yesterday, and it said the golden age of America starts now, or begins now. And I I just found that really freaking ironic because back when I was in college, I studied the Gilded Age, and when I was thinking about what area of history I wanted to go in, the Gilded Age was one period that I was considering, in which case you have commercial monopolies and extreme poverty and, you know, restrictions on the rights of women and children. Just feels a little ironic. So anyway, I saw that, and then I immediately had the idea that it would be interesting to film like a little video basically comparing this particular political, social, economic moment to the Gilded Age. But I wouldn't post that on YouTube because no doubt some random dude is gonna comment and just say god-awful things. And I don't think that my mental health can take the hate comments. But if it's you and me, like if it's us, you know, like this little community, I feel like it would be a place where we could have that conversation. We could chat about history and pop culture and how it is that it connects and things. So I don't know, I'm feeling hopeful, but I need to stop talking because I have so much work to do today. So anyway, I'm gonna put stuff in the fridge. I'm gonna make myself some food, and then we're gonna start work, and I am going to try to quell this anxiety that I feel since making the announcement, which you can probably sense, and hope that today is a very good day. So, anywho, let's get to it. Do tricks? Yeah? Do you? You silly? You silly pooch? Yes! Silly dog. Alright. Bang bang. Bang bang. Yeah, stay still. Stay. Move. Bang bang. Roll over. Roll over. Good girl. Eve. Alright, come here. Alright, leave. No. No. Come. Good girl. Leave. Come. Leave. Good girl. I'm having a bit of a rough day, if I'm honest. It's just been a lot of meetings, and I don't feel like I'm getting enough of my work done, and I need to switch the dissertation after work, which I'm excited to do, except for that there are a lot of things I need to get done for my day job. So this is the one major challenge of like having the dissertation, because the dissertation requires daily input. And not necessarily I have to write every single day, but it requires intention. It's quite difficult to prioritize when there are a lot of things going on. Anywho, I feel like I'm a bit distracted, so I can't really give like a proper update. But I love how this person is trying to get me to do a brand deal on Instagram after I just posted on Instagram that I'm not doing Instagram anymore. They didn't do their homework. One of the really disorienting things about editing vlogs like a week after you film them is that when you go to do the voiceover, the things that you're facing in the moment sometimes bleed into the things that I want to talk about. And in this clip, I'm working on my dissertation after work, and I just wanted to say that the reason I had an article to look at was because the members of Accepted Society, there's a space where we can share resources, and if somebody doesn't have access to an article or a PDF, then we can put a note in the community and ask if anybody else has access. And it's just such a small thing, but in this moment it felt like a really big thing that somebody was generous enough to take the time and to find this resource for me. So this is a book on the dissolution of the Virginia Company, and while the actual access to the material itself is really important, I just feel really grateful that I even have this community space and this opportunity to access materials that I wouldn't otherwise have. And being far from my institution and kind of disconnected from my academic community, having a place like Accepted where I get to lead or join study sessions, where I get to connect with others working in fields similar and far-reaching from my own, and we get to share resources, we get to share experiences, we get to share in the challenges that we're facing. I just feel really, really grateful for that, especially right now. And as I'm working on this dissertation while working a full-time job and trying to figure out how to make time for it after a busy day, I'm just really grateful that I have this support. I'm actually editing this video while having joined a study session with Accepted to get some work done on this video and then to continue working on some projects for my day job. And I'm just really grateful. What can I say? That was incredibly frustrating. I feel like I don't know how to write anymore. How does anybody write a dissertation? Genuinely. How did I write a dissertation for Oxford or a thesis for undergrad? Like, genuinely how? Because I just can't seem to construct anything. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of grace and say that it's been a bit of a difficult day. It's been a bit distracting. I got some news earlier that, wasn't great. I'm not in a place where I want to talk about it, but my brain is just somewhere else. It's not totally getting with the program, and I'm just going through this section that I just feel like I should be able to write about so easily, because I've spent like my entire existence talking about and reading about the founding of Virginia, the Virginia Company Charter, and, the original papers. And I was looking through some of them, and like, I have an idea. And so I was struggling to actually get words down. So I just decided I would start pulling an outline together. And I had a conversation with Maya yesterday where she said that she sent her advisor 7 pages every 3 weeks. And it could be notes, it could be a written draft, it could be a section. It didn't have to be anything specific. And so I just try to keep that in mind today. And I was just trying to, pull some notes or something together. In fairness, doing that did help. I did feel like I had a better grasp on where I was heading. And I did look at the different sections and think, okay, I do have something I can do with this, because one of the sections, for example, is the early settlers, and that section I don't feel terribly well versed in writing, but the next section, which is where they are trying to innovate how they're going to attract laborers, like that I could do. And I did find the records for the Virginia company, so I need to go through and, you know, figure that out. But it's a long day, and it's not anywhere close to done because I have a lot of stuff I need to get sorted out by the end of the day. Like, I have a YouTube video that needs to go out, I have a work assignment I need to get to the bottom of, and it just doesn't feel like I can get my head above water. That's how it is. That's how it goes. Like, yesterday was like, great. Today, not so great. But it started on a good note. So, you know what? I'm going to pull out my journal. I did not journal this morning, and I just feel like I need to, like, bleh everything that's going on, like, up in here onto a piece of paper, and hope tomorrow is better. That's my rant. I tried to work on the dissertation. I really tried, but my brain is just not here, present, working, doing its job, and it's okay. So I'm going to quickly check in on my Patreon that launched today, and see my incredible patrons. And then I'm going to journal, and then I'm going to do my work assignment, and then I'm going to edit a video. It's 8:30, so it's going to be a late night. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Wednesday, and I was up very, very late last night until just after midnight doing work. So I slept in a little bit this morning until 8, and I'm just having my breakfast and doing my journaling and just trying to take it slow. One great thing about having deleted social media off my phone is that I don't really feel inclined to check my phone in the morning. I mean, I have it here just so I can make sure that I'm ready for work on time, but ultimately I don't feel the same kind of tether to it. And this morning I started reading The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. I will say, Ali recommended this to me because we were having this conversation about anxiety when we were in Portugal, and he said that I might like this book. I think the premise is great. I think the idea of figuring out how to essentially learn to surrender and go with the flow a little bit more is probably a lesson that I do need to learn. But it starts off with talking about how he's like on a private plane on his own private jet, and then he's like a CEO going to negotiate this big business deal, and it suits his audience. I'm assuming that most of his audience find that thing appealing. I personally don't. I find that really difficult to resonate with. Whereas if the beginning of the book had started with, you know, an overworked parent, or, you know, a student, or, you know, an early stage entrepreneur trying to juggle a million things, I think I would resonate with that more. But that being said, I don't know how much of those books exist. I think this is partly where I need to be more conscious of finding productivity related content that is produced by women, or that is produced maybe outside of the especially American context. I find the American discourse on productivity and mindfulness and, you know, manifestation and that kind of thing, while I find elements of it helpful, I don't find that it totally aligns with my view of productivity. And so I'm trying to figure out what literature would be the most helpful. I have read a lot of kind of neurodivergent studies. Katie recommended Transforming ADHD. I haven't read that one yet. I have read, I think it's Unmasked. Is that it? I'd have to go to my bookshelf because for some reason I can like picture the cover, but I can't remember the title. So that's just my brain short circuiting. But anyway, I have read a lot of those studies, and I do have a couple of, you know, kind of like productivity, mindfulness, self-development content that is produced by women, or that is produced outside of the like American canon, I suppose, but I would love recommendations. So anyway, I'm reading that book. I just wanted to have a couple of pages of reading before I started the day. I've been reading Lydia Millen's Evergreen, but I got past the winter chapters and now it's getting on to spring, and I really want to save that until March when we are actually heading into spring. So that's what I have here. I just have a little bit of time for nonfiction reading before I start the day, but I am going to go ahead and finish up my breakfast and then go sit down at my desk, and I have a meeting at 10. So I need to do a little bit of work before then, and then today is really dedicated to getting the LifeOS slides finished, so that way I can focus on the templates tomorrow. I've had a couple of meetings. I've been working on the LifeOS course, and I have a couple of other meetings this afternoon. So I'm just trying to like get a little bit of work done on the session slides in between. So that way, hopefully I don't have a super late night again tonight, but something in my gut tells me it's probably very likely that I will. I don't know why these slides like always take me so much longer than I feel like they should. And I just feel like I overthink it. So what I'm trying to do is, instead of overthink it, get to the place where I feel like it gives Ali a good structure, and then send it over to him and ask for feedback rather than trying to make it up as I go along. Anywho, I have just been working on that, and what I wanted to share with you is that I used to keep my notes in a bunch of different journals, but what I've actually started doing is using this notebook that I got from Scriptum in Oxford. And it's not necessarily about the notebook itself. I think that, you know, if we focus so much on what stationery is the perfect stationery, then we're not thinking about the actual systems that work best for us. And the reason I'm sharing this is because it's much more portable and small and light. And most importantly, I can just change out these notebooks. So these come unattached from the leather cover. And I've basically been using this as like my commonplace book. So this is where I've been journaling, but I also keep notes in here. I keep like my budget in here. And it's just a place for me to just kind of dump all of my thoughts. So instead of keeping them dispersed, it's just been a nice way to keep things organized. And it also is the place where I organize my day if I don't bring my Golden Coil planner. I really wish that they made an insert that was a planner format, because I don't like bullet journaling. I find the process of having to like redo the outline every time to be a bit stressful. So I like having a set planner, and I prefer to do my plan physically and then move it to digitally. But I really enjoy this notebook, and also it has such nice kind of fine lines. So it's got the like squared paper, but they're so small that it works for my really tiny handwriting. So like, as you can see, it's just really satisfying. So anywho, that's my little update. Not much has happened yet, but I will share more with you a little bit later. I'm still like thinking about what my dissertation is going to look like and trying not to stress about it too much, because I do need to get a couple of pages written today. So come hell or high water, I really need to get stuff done, because we have Life OS due and I also have a chapter due. So I did this to myself. Like, these are the consequences of my own actions. So it is time to transition over to working on the dissertation, and I have already gotten started. I feel really silly having to do this at this stage in my educational career, but I am writing the most basic summary on the history of the Virginia Company, because I cannot seem to get myself to write, and so it's very basic. It's like, the Virginia Company was chartered in 1606, and then I'm talking about like the original investors and the purpose and all of those things. It's just to like get me moving. So that is helpful so far. I have the most basic writing. I feel like I'm writing the way I did back in community college, which is very, very basic, but it's words on paper. That's all that matters. So I'm just gonna basically spend today just writing everything I know about the Virginia Company and trying to not let myself look at any documents. And then when I am in the second stage of studying, after I have brain dumped, then I'm going to go look at the papers of Sir Edwin Sandys, who was the treasurer for the Virginia Company. The reason I'm looking at his papers is because he received like an anonymous donation from someone called Dust and Ashes, who donated some funds to educate Indigenous children in Virginia. And they had essentially sought to develop a school whereby they would try to get the local Indigenous population to give up their children to be educated as English people in these schools. And that's the kind of focal point of this particular chapter, and how that particular mission did not work, was not successful, and that then led them to seeking out other forms of non-English laborers, because so they couldn't find ways to bring in indigenous children to be educated and then to become apprentices. And so they needed other labor sources because they were also failing to bring in enough settlers from England and to have enough servants, essentially. And so there's another point in the legal history whereby they had a statute that basically said, you know, if there's children in Virginia that are destitute, whose parents are not doing well economically, then we will take their children and we will educate them, you know, have them work as apprentices, essentially. So it follows a very similar pattern that I'm seeing in the early modern period of essentially finding ways to justify exploitation of child labor by saying that you're like educating or providing economic opportunity by training children. And that then leads to the presence of non-English children, so Black children more specifically, African children. And then the chapter is intending to end with the emergence of Partis law, essentially asking, what does the legislature do when presented with children that they do not deem English? And we basically have two categories that are being developed in terms of the legal definition of what types of rights to consent, to not consent, etc. somebody has based on their English identity. And then the Partis law is that point in which they make a distinction that any children born of African descent will not be considered English because they are going to follow the maternal line, not the paternal line, if that makes sense. So we're like getting there, but I feel like the early stages of this chapter are the pieces that I should know how to write the best, because the founding of Virginia has been my jam essentially for how long have I been in school? Forever? So anywho, I'm just going to brain dump and hope for the best. I have a 25-minute Pomodoro session, like ambiance playlist going, and I'm just gonna do some writing sprints and I'll let you know how it goes. It's been such a good day. I had a really good meeting with my manager. We talked a little bit about my role and how it is that I can play a little bit more to my strengths, and then I had a really good dissertation session. As I said, I was just doing a little bit of a brain dump, which was really helpful because it actually helped me flesh out a bit of the outline. And then I moved over to the couch and started reading Lorena Walsh's what's it called? The one on the Chesapeake. I also had my second to last P2AX office hours. So we're closing down the accelerator, which is kind of sad because I really love my office hours. I I really love talking about YouTube and YouTube strategy and business and online community and all of that. So I definitely would like to talk more about that over time. And I've talked about this before. So I'll maybe make a little bit more of that content as time goes on, but had a really lovely chat with them. Ended up going overtime because I just wanted to keep talking to them, and then, you know, did my dissertation work and have done quite a lot on the Life OS slides. And now it's about 10 o'clock and I'm going into town tomorrow to WeWork to work with Iram, and I am going to go to the gym on the way. So I got myself an appointment to go to the gym over by the WeWork rather than my kind of home gym. So I signed up for a hot vinyasa yoga class, which I'm a little apprehensive about because I have not done one of those classes in a very long time, and I am not as strong as I once was. So I am gonna push myself, and I'm gonna bring lots of water because it's not just a vinyasa class, but it's a hot vinyasa class. So anywho, wish me luck on that, but it'll be really nice, and it's over by Tower Bridge. It's a really beautiful spot to get some, you know, nice B-roll and to just have a nice little walk outside. So I'm really looking forward to having a day in town. One thing that I was trying to focus on at the beginning of this year is getting more time in with my team and more time out of the flat. So that's the plan, but I'm gonna go ahead and shower and get ready for bed, read my Hermione fan fiction, and I will take you along for another day tomorrow. So good night, folks, and I will see you in the morning. I just got out of the best yoga class. It was just what I needed. I got such a good sweat on, and now I'm going to go walk across Tower Bridge to the other side because the WeWork is over there somewhere. And I was hoping that I could get some breakfast, but unfortunately, like, this particular strip by the river has like nothing going on. There's no bakeries, no nothing. I'm hoping that there's maybe something. I think that there's a Paul like over there, but then that's really out of the way. I'm gonna go off to WeWork, meet up with Iram for a day of work, and enjoy the scenery, even though it is raining. When I was walking this morning, there was this beautiful sunrise, and now it's doing its thing. London is Londoning, and it is raining. But you know what? I'm not complaining because it's a beautiful view. I have a really nice walk to work, and it's going to be a good, productive day, finishing up the slides for Life OS and going and then going to book club this evening with my friend Jess. So it's going to be a good day. Let's take a nice little walk across Tower Bridge, doing London-y things.
On the road, I've been away for far too long, but now I'm on my way back home. I hear the west winds calling out my name.
It is the next evening. I Went to WeWork yesterday. My friend Iram wasn't actually able to meet me, so I ended up coming home, doing a bit of work. Went to book club, came back and worked until like 2 in the morning to finish up stuff for Life OS. And it is the next day. I am a bit knackered, but I need to work on the dissertation. I actually just got out of a meeting with my advisor. They basically said, homie, you need to get writing. Like, there's no two ways about it. You just need to suck it up and sit down and write. So the advice they gave me, not the most helpful advice I've ever received, but there was one thing that they said. One, it was just, you know, maintain a daily consistent practice, which I have been better about recently. The second was to finish in the middle of an idea, so that way you have something to pick up on when you sit down. I realized that part of my pattern with writing, this isn't a new revelation to me, but it's something that I am just realizing is much more inflexible than I wish it was, which is that I pretty much always need to write the introduction before I can do anything. And so we are going to sit here and we are going to write an introduction, come hell or high water. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it happen. I've got my Howl's Moving Castle ambiance. I'm gonna light a candle. We're gonna make this like the moodiest, most productive little writing sprint that I can manage. And I am considering going live to do this, but I just want to eat a snack, so maybe not. Anywho, I'm just procrastinating, which is what we don't need to do. We need to sit down, put words on paper. So there is one letter to the treasurer of the Virginia company, and I think that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to stop procrastinating. We're going to sit down. We're going to write this damn dissertation, because I refuse to be that type of person that never finishes the dissertation. I really want to finish it. I really, really do. I know I can. I just need to actually suck it up and put words on the paper. So if you like essay crises, congratulations. You've entered one with me as your host. Hey friends, we have made it to the end of today's video and the end of the vlog. I apparently never actually filmed an outro on Friday, which is very bad of me as a vlogger, but anywho, I had a really good productive week just trying to find a means of balancing work and the PhD and just kind of restructuring priorities. As I said in some of my previous videos, I've been really struggling with feeling like I'm being pulled in a bunch of different directions, and having a little bit more clarity on the goal being to do my job, to do a good job at my job, and to make progress on the dissertation every day, and to kind of put everything else off to the side, including getting off of Instagram, getting off of TikTok. It's made a really big difference, not just in, you know, the overall kind of like productivity and how it is that I'm able to focus, which has had a positive impact. But the thing that makes the biggest difference is honestly the fact that I have so much more energy going into the things that matter. And so the message that I want to leave you with is to take a minute to kind of step back and look at where your time is going. And if it's at all helpful, maybe you can even track it for a day. But I want you to think about where your attention is and how it is that you can kind of simplify the directions that your mind is going and all of the things that you're committing energy to. Since removing social media, or more specifically Instagram and TikTok, from my daily content diet, I have found that I'm wanting to read more. I feel it's much easier to stay off of my phone. It's much easier to actually dial into the things that I say are my priority. And so I just recommend just taking a moment, taking a step back and really thinking about where your attention is going and what is taking up the most of your energy, because I didn't really recognize how much energy was being absorbed by social media content. And I'm not just talking about scrolling, I'm also talking about how it led to a lack of real, genuine connection, and that is something that I am trying to prioritize more as I am off of socials and trying to use things like text messaging and FaceTime in order to connect with my community and with my friends. And I just wanted to also say a quick thank you to those of you that have signed up to my Patreon page. It is live now, and basically what I'm doing with this page is just kind of random updates. And then for the VIP tier, I'm also going to have additional videos and live streams and potentially live events available. I also have like a little book club area. We're gonna have a book a month, and I just think it's going to be a nice space for me to communicate with you guys in real time. And the goal is to keep it both at a price point for you that's accessible, but also to put it at a place where I don't feel like I have to produce a ton of content and I don't have to check in on it every single day. But it's just a way for me to communicate and connect with you guys, because one of the things that was keeping me on socials was concern over connection. And so I'm really happy that I've gotten to communicate with some of you over there, and I hope to see more of you there soon. And thank you again to Skrintal for sponsoring today's video, and thank you all so much for watching. So I'll see you all next time. Thank you, friends, and I hope you have a wonderful week.